When it comes to these contract standoffs, especially when it's between a star player and the team that's been his home for years, you can almost always cheat the story. You can skip to the last page. You can fast forward to the end credits. Because with certain players, certain organizations, and certain relationships, the conclusion is already written before the drama even unfolds. That's the feeling around the situation with Cam Heyward and the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. Yesterday, up at St. Vincent College after another steamy training camp practice, Cam stepped in front of the cameras and didn't hide a single thing. He admitted he's in what's being called a hold-in, meaning he's showing up to practice, he's present, but he's not doing everything the team would normally ask him to do. And he made it crystal clear, if this contract doesn't get addressed, he's ready to miss regular season games. Not bluffing, not hinting, straight up telling the world that's on the table. And he didn't just say he wants more money. He explained why. In his eyes, the current deal is out of step with his value. He pointed out his ranking compared to other players at his position, saying he sits in the low 20s among defensive tackles, and somewhere in the 30s if you list him as a defensive lineman overall. Then he reminded everyone that he knows exactly what he brings on and off the field: leadership, production, presence, and that it's hard to justify playing for the number currently in his contract after the kind of season he just had. Cam also shared something that clearly stuck with him. When he signed this contract, he told the team that if he had an all-pro season, they should expect him to come back to the table. According to him, some people in the room chuckled at that, but he took it as motivation. And you can tell he meant it. This wasn't some throwaway comment. This was him drawing a line way back then. And now he's cashing in on the promise he made to himself. Now, here's the thing. I don't necessarily agree with the way Cam's going about this. Not because he's wrong to want to be paid in line with his performance, but because there's a process for this sort of thing. A good agent would have seen this exact scenario coming. If you truly believe you're going to be an all-pro, you bake an all-pro bonus into the contract. Or you set up a clause that allows you to reopen negotiations after a certain type of season. Or, if you're really betting on yourself, you sign a one-year deal and then test the market when the price is hottest. That's literally what agents get paid for. To think ahead so their clients don't have to stand in front of the media in August trying to explain why they're locked into a number they now hate. And yet, even with all this, I keep coming back to the same conclusion. None of it really matters. Not the speeches, not the rankings, not the public negotiations. Because we've seen this movie before in Pittsburgh. When a player is part of the core, part of the family, the front office bends. Omar Khan, Mike Tomlin, Art Rooney. These are not executives who take a hard-nosed, cutthroat approach with their cornerstone guys. If anything, they've shown time and again that they'll absorb the headache, they'll take the criticism, and they'll pay to keep their leaders happy. Remember when TJ Watt wanted to reset the market? He said it. He made it known. He even dropped cryptic Instagram posts that had the fan base guessing what it all meant. And the Steelers didn't flinch. They didn't trade him. They didn't drag it out to the bitter end. They found a way to make him the highest paid in the category that mattered to him, even if they had to get creative. Cam Heyward is in that same tier for them. He's more than a player. He's a presence in the locker room, a face of the franchise, the kind of guy the younger players point to as an example. So while this all might feel tense right now, while fans and media debate whether he's putting money over winning, the reality is the ending is already written. Cam will get his adjustment. It might not be exactly the number he's envisioning, but it will be enough for him to step back on the field as the leader of that defensive front. The rest is just noise. The next week or two will be filled with speculation, hot takes, and maybe even a few awkward press conferences. But the Steelers will keep playing the long game because for them, keeping Cam happy isn't just about the stats. It's about stability. And whether you love that philosophy or think it's soft, it's who they are. They've done it before. They'll do it again. And when the dust settles, when everyone pretends to be shocked at the announcement of a restructured deal, you'll look back and realize you could have skipped the entire middle act. Because this is one of those stories where the ending was playing on the big screen from the very first scene. The thing about a situation like this is that the fan base doesn't move in one direction. It's never all boos or all cheers. When you bring up Cam Heyward's hold-in right now, you're going to get a full spectrum of responses. Some people feel blindsided, Like this is a betrayal from one of the most respected guys in the building. They'll say things like, "Man, I thought he was different. I thought he was about the team, not the money." Others rush to his defense immediately, pointing at the production he put up last season and the fact that other defensive linemen around the league, with worse numbers, are cashing checks that make his current deal look like a bargain. And then there's the group in the middle, the fans who are conflicted. They respect what Cam's done, they understand the business side, but they also look at the timing and shake their heads. 2 years left on a contract isn't exactly the point in the deal where you expect to see a standoff. Normally, this kind of heat comes when you're staring at the final season, with free agency on the other side. I get where all of them are coming from, but here's the cold reality. Pittsburgh's depth on the defensive line is not in a place where you can just shrug and say, "Let him sit. Let him walk." You take Cam out of the equation right now, and suddenly you're looking at names like Keanu Benton, DeMarvin Leal, and rookie talents who are still figuring out what it even feels like to play at this level. These are promising guys, no question, but they're not ready to anchor the front in September, not in the way Cam does. Let's just be blunt. Replacing him isn't a switch you can flip. That's not a knock on the younger guys. That's just the truth about development in the NFL. There's a jump in speed, a jump in strength, a jump in the complexity of the game that even the most gifted prospects can't absorb overnight. One preseason game, one camp scrimmage. It's not enough to prep you for when the games count and the opponent is scheming to expose you every snap. Take a rookie like DeMarvin Leal or Benton. You can see flashes. You can watch them collapse a pocket or win a rep and think, yeah, that's the future right there. But a future is not a present. They're still building the consistency, the conditioning, the awareness that veterans like Cam live and breathe without thinking. You talk to them after practice, and you can hear the honesty in their voices. They'll tell you flat out they need to be better. They'll say they've got to win on their first move, that the game feels faster than they expected, that they're still adjusting to the rhythm. That's not a weakness. That's normal. But it's also the reason why the idea of just letting Cam kick rocks, as some fans have put it, isn't grounded in reality. And you can't help but notice how much the veterans set the tone. Cam's not just rushing the passer or stuffing the run. He's diagnosing plays before they happen, shifting guys into better alignments, catching things the rest of the defense might miss. That kind of leadership doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but you take it away and the ripple effect is immediate. The young guys lose a safety net, the linebackers lose a trusted communicator, and the whole front can suddenly feel a half step slower. Now, I've seen the jokes making the rounds, the ones about cutting Cam Heyward and giving his paycheck to Big Brother. They're everywhere, and honestly, they're not as clever as people think. It's the kind of recycled punchline that pops up every time there's a family connection on a roster. Connor's not taking food off Cam's table. This isn't a backyard sibling rivalry where you swap allowance money. It's just an easy laugh for social media, but it doesn't do anything to address the real situation. The real situation is that this front office is going to have to balance two truths. Truth number one, Cam Heyward has earned the respect and leverage to ask for what he's asking. Truth number two, the Steelers have their own structure and history to protect, and if they cave too quickly, they set a precedent that every future negotiation can point back to. That's the tightrope. But even here, I can't shake the belief that the Steelers will find their way to yes. They always do with players like this. They'll massage the numbers, shift some guarantees around, maybe add incentives that Cam is more than capable of hitting, and then they'll all stand together at a podium and talk about how this was about mutual respect. The headlines will flip from contract drama to leader locked in about 24 hours. And just like that, the noise will die down. When that happens, all the fiery fan takes, the ones calling him greedy or washed or selfish, are going to age like milk. Some of the same people shouting now will be back in Cam's corner the moment he's in uniform again, making plays in the backfield. Because that's the cycle. We've seen it with TJ, with Hines Ward back in the day, with countless others. Once the season starts, the business drama fades and the scoreboard takes over. And if you're wondering whether Cam's teammates are secretly upset with him, I'd be willing to bet the opposite. In NFL locker rooms, Players almost always respect a guy for standing up for his worth. It's understood as part of the game. Coaches might wish it was quieter, management might wish it was cheaper, but among the men in pads, the attitude is usually, go get yours. So for now, we watch. We watch the rookies sweat through their first training camp under the brutal summer sun, adjusting to the grind. We watch the veterans answer questions they'd rather not, tiptoeing around the subject because they know the cameras are rolling. We watch the front office keep their public poker face while the behind-the-scenes conversations continue. And we wait for the moment we already know is coming. The handshake, the new numbers on the contract, the return to business, as usual. Because in Pittsburgh, when it comes to the rare players who define the era, the story rarely ends any other way. If you've ever been to an NFL training camp, you know there's a rhythm to the whole thing. Mornings start with that mix of excitement and exhaustion. The players trickling out in their gear, the fans lining up with Sharpies and jerseys, the sound of helmets clacking as guys warm up. But when there's a storyline hanging over the camp like this Cam Heyward contract standoff, the rhythm shifts. It's like the music in the background has changed tempo. The players feel it. You can see it in little moments, a sideline conversation where the tone dips just slightly, a quick answer to a reporter that ends faster than usual. They all know what's going on, even if they're not part of the negotiations. They're watching how the team handles one of its most respected leaders, because deep down, every player wonders how they'll be treated when it's their turn. For the coaches, it's a different kind of juggling act. Mike Tomlin has always been a master at managing personalities, keeping the focus on the next drill, the next rep, the next install. He'll tell you, and mean it, that distractions are only distractions if you let them be. But even he can't completely erase the reality that when Cam isn't fully participating, the reps look different. Younger players get more work, which is good for development, but the baseline level of execution takes a hit. And make no mistake, this isn't just a camp inconvenience. Defensive line chemistry is built on trust and repetition. It's about knowing the guy next to you will react the same way every time a certain blocking scheme shows up. Without Cam in the mix at full speed, that rhythm is harder to nail down. Benton might take a step in the right direction, but he's still guessing at times. DeMarvin Leal might flash, but then he'll get caught in the wrong gap because he hasn't seen the exact look before. Those are the growing pains that veterans like Cam smooth over without a second thought. Meanwhile, up in the offices, Omar Khan and Art Rooney are doing their quiet work. They're not the type to leak every detail, but you can bet they've got spreadsheets open, calls going back and forth, and multiple versions of potential contract structures on the table. These aren't emotional negotiations, at least not on their side. For them, it's numbers, cap space, long-term planning. But here's the thing, and I know I've said it before, I don't think the Steelers are actually willing to roll those dice. They've invested too much in the rest of this roster. They believe this team can compete right now. You don't keep TJ Watt in his prime. You don't make the moves they've made in the offseason and then willingly create a hole the size of Cam Heyward in your defense. That's not their style. So while the drama plays out, while fans keep refreshing their feeds for updates, while Cam keeps working in the shadows of camp without going full throttle, the resolution is inching closer. Maybe it's a week away. Maybe it's a few days. But it's coming. And when it does, all of this will feel like just another chapter in a long history of Pittsburgh taking care of its cornerstone guys, eventually. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers around the NFL world have recently intensified with an intriguing rumor. Trevor Lawrence, the young and talented quarterback, might be headed to the Pittsburgh Steelers in a spectacular fashion. The buzz started with reports of a lavish welcome party being organized for Lawrence in Pittsburgh, hinting that the Steelers' front office could be preparing a big move to shake up their quarterback situation. For a franchise steeped in history and renowned for producing legendary signal callers like Terry Bradshaw and Ben Roethlisberger, adding a player of Lawrence's caliber could signal a new era of hope and excitement. The idea of Lawrence arriving amidst a grand celebration is not just a sign of fanfare, but also a strategic move to boost morale and unify the team and its passionate fan base. It remains unclear how close the Steelers actually are to finalizing any deal, but the mere possibility of Trevor Lawrence donning the black and gold jersey has already stirred intense conversations and expectations throughout the NFL community. This potential acquisition could dramatically alter the competitive landscape of the league, making the Steelers a team to watch closely as the rumors develop further. The speculation surrounding Trevor Lawrence's arrival in Pittsburgh seems to be more than just idle chatter, as insiders suggest that negotiations are ongoing behind closed doors. The Steelers have been in need of a franchise quarterback since the twilight of Ben Roethlisberger's illustrious career, and Lawrence represents a rare opportunity to secure a young talent with immense upside and leadership qualities. The idea of welcoming him with a lavish party speaks volumes about how seriously the Steelers' management might be taking this potential acquisition. Such an event could serve not only as a symbol of commitment to the player, but also as a way to rally the city and the locker room around a new leader. It's worth noting that Lawrence's skill set, strong arm, mobility, and composure under pressure, fits well with the Steelers' aggressive offensive philosophy, making the rumored move a seemingly perfect match. While no official statements have been made, the excitement and anticipation growing around this possibility reflect a shared hope that Pittsburgh is on the verge of a transformative chapter in its storied football history. Adding fuel to the rumor fire, social media platforms have been buzzing with cryptic posts and hints that suggest something big is brewing in Pittsburgh. Fans and analysts alike have dissected every detail of the supposed welcome party preparations, from extravagant decorations to secretive guest lists, all pointing toward the Steelers pulling out all the stops for Trevor Lawrence. The sheer scale of such a celebration would be unprecedented in recent NFL history. It could set a new standard for how franchises introduce marquee players to their cities. Moreover, the timing of this buzz coincides with reports that the Steelers are actively seeking to rebuild and rebrand, positioning themselves as a formidable contender for the coming seasons. The potential impact of this move extends beyond the team itself, as Lawrence's arrival could shift rivalries and divisional dynamics, igniting new storylines that captivate fans across the league. While skeptics caution that nothing is confirmed yet, the mounting signs and carefully orchestrated excitement hint at an impending announcement that could reverberate throughout the NFL world. The broader implications of Trevor Lawrence joining the Steelers have sparked a wave of analysis and debate among pundits and former players, with many emphasizing the cultural and strategic significance of such a move. The Steelers are known for their blue-collar ethos and resilient identity, traits that Lawrence has demonstrated throughout his collegiate and professional career. The rumored lavish party could be seen as a symbolic passing of the torch, signaling a fresh start built on both talent and tradition. This narrative appeals not only to Pittsburgh's loyal fan base, but also to the national audience eager to witness the unfolding drama of NFL franchises seeking new heroes. Strategically, adding Lawrence would provide the Steelers with a long-term solution at quarterback, potentially stabilizing a position that has been a challenge in recent years. The excitement around the possibility is palpable, with many speculating that the Steelers' ownership and coaching staff are aligned in their vision of making Lawrence the centerpiece of their future success. If the rumors prove true, the Steelers could be on the brink of a renaissance that blends storied legacy with modern star power. Despite the enthusiasm, caution remains among some observers who point out that the complexities of NFL trades and contracts make such high-profile acquisitions challenging to finalize quickly. The rumor of Trevor Lawrence's arrival accompanied by a grand celebration could be part of a strategic media play designed to build momentum and public support for the move. While the Steelers have been linked to various quarterbacks in the past, the specificity and scale of the rumored welcome event suggest a level of confidence that sets this potential deal apart. If Lawrence indeed arrives in Pittsburgh under such fanfare, it would mark a bold statement of intent from the franchise, signaling not just a change in personnel, but a reinvigoration of ambition. The NFL offseason is notorious for surprises, and this possible blockbuster could reshape expectations and betting lines for the upcoming season. For now, the sports world watches and waits, caught up in the excitement of what could be one of the most memorable arrivals in NFL history, as Trevor Lawrence's rumored grand entrance into Pittsburgh continues to dominate headlines and fan discussions. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.